Last month, we were chasing a pretty simple question. Can this game actually work? We spent the month stress testing the core gameplay loop, throwing every rough idea we had at the wall and seeing what survived, and by the end of the month, we had something far more valuable than a polished gameplay. Our first playable demo of the year. And more importantly, we had proof. Proof that the core gameplay loop was actually working. Players could move through the complete level, they could use the bite mechanic, solve problems, overcome challenges, and reach an ending. And even though it wasn't polished or pretty, for the first time, it felt like we weren't just building a collection of mechanics, we were building an actual game. With the demo in place, the question stopped being, what mechanics can we add? And became, what is each room trying to teach? That's where we started focusing heavily on gameplay sequences, or what we like to call the Mario formula. The idea is simple. You don't build a level around 4 mechanics, you build 4 encounters around 1 mechanic. Introduce the idea, let the player experiment with it, challenge their understanding, then put a twist on it, and finally, combine it with something new. This way, every room had a purpose. We stopped treating mechanics like isolated features and started thinking about them as building blocks in a conversation with the player. Every encounter, puzzle, and challenge could pull apart and rebuild around player understanding. And, as we quickly discovered, players are incredibly talented at finding solutions we never planned for, which is sometimes frustrating. But, more often than not, it's where the best moments happen. This was the month where every room started earning its place. Of course, designing fun encounters is only half the battle. Because while the design team was busy figuring out how to teach mechanics through gameplay, Emilio was busy fighting an entirely different enemy: physics. As it turns out, nobody tells you how much game development involves staring at diagrams from high school physics class wondering where your life went wrong. Huh? One of the mechanics we kept coming back to during these gameplay sequence discussions was the Pinball Bot, a robot that bounces around the environment and creates interesting situations for the player. Back in April, the Pinball Bot technically worked, but it was fast, chaotic, unpredictable, and seemed to have its own personal agenda. At first, the system relied on simple reflection calculation to determine how the bot bounced off walls, which sounds reasonably until you realize that real-world collisions are anything but simple. Certain angles produced strange results, momentum behaved oddly, collisions felt inconsistent, and the more we built encounters around the mechanic, the more obvious those problems became. So Emilio rolled up his sleeves and went down the physics rabbit hole. What started as let's make the bouncing feel better quickly turned into researching collisions forces, momentum transfer, friction calculations, and enough vector math to make the rest of the dev team back away slowly, leaving Emilio to battle the laws of physics alone. After a week of iteration, the pinball became something more satisfying to interact with. It became a mechanic we could actually design fun encounters around. It's one of those things players might never notice, but it's a perfect example of how game development works behind the scenes. Sometimes making something fun means spending several weeks teaching a robot how to bounce into a wall properly. After all the design iterations, physics headaches, and countless playtests, something interesting started happening with the demo. The game became fun. Systems that have been living in isolation for months were finally starting to work together. Encounters felt more rewarding, player decisions felt more meaningful. But perhaps the biggest change wasn't mechanical at all, it was narrative. As we continued building the demo, we started bringing back characters, dialogue, and story moments that turned a collection of mechanics into an actual video game. Now, players aren't just moving around through test rooms and gray box prototypes, they're rescuing family members and residents of Porto Morto. They're following a story and going on an adventure, which made this the perfect time to put the latest build in front of players. If you'd like to see everything we've talked about in this devlog in action, we recently invited one of the longtime community members, Nico, to jump into the latest demo and put it through its paces.
I love Dr. Q.
The full playtest is now available on our YouTube channel, where you'll get a closer look at the new encounters, updated pinball bots, story moments, and plenty of unexpected chaos along the way. And If you would like to have the chance to play future builds, join our Discord community. That's where we share development updates, gather feedback, and recruit brave volunteers willing to help us break the game before it launches. We'll be back the next month with more progress, more lessons learned, and hopefully a few less physics-related emergencies.